And we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela, and it's back. Hashtag Be Fabulous You February, and we're talking about freedom today. So just wanted to take a couple moments to chat, think about, analyze freedom. There is a video I made probably about a year ago, maybe give or take a month or so, about freedom that's on my Be Fabulous You A to Z playlist. So check that out, and I'll try to drop the link in here at some point soon, very, very soon. I think I need to do the one from yesterday too. So just, hey, welcome on talking about freedom. So, okay, the first thing that I wanted to say, there are two points that I wanted to make about freedom. The first is, thank you for the like, I appreciate it. The first thing is that, well, I guess there are three things. I feel like it's something to think about Black folks, African folks in this country being enslaved. I mean, that is just like a really, really, really deep concept to me. And it's deep, like, not because I have personally experienced being enslaved, although sometimes I felt like, dang, they trying to turn me into a slave. You know, I've had some experiences that have kind of stressed me out, but I just think I just can't. It's just like inconceivable, this idea that like our people as a whole, or overwhelmingly our people, were like chained up at somebody's mercy to rape, beat, rob, take your labor, take what, it's just kind of like mind-boggling to me. So I guess that's the first thing, like why I feel like, I guess for our people, I feel like this energy, this vibration of freedom is like a really, really crucial thing for us, because we've had this collective experience, even when you don't experience it personally, because it's affected so many of our people and it's so much a part of our community. I think this bondage and freedom and this like whole dynamic is something that is serious for us. It's intense for us. Just like, seeing somebody, shot, gunned down on the side of the road because they Black, but they say, oh, your headlight was out, or you had a bad attitude, or I thought, it affects us. It creates a certain like, it affects us all, even though you might not have had that personal experience. I guess we haven't, because we alive watching this, so we haven't been shot and killed, on the street. Like, I don't even shoot and kill animals on the street. I don't know who's out there shooting and killing people, but this idea of freedom is I just feel like it's like a community-wide conversation. The second thing I was thinking about freedom and kind of realizing is that years ago I read this book, and it was like, talking about affirmations as it related to wealth. And one of the things that they said is really, really important is when you're thinking about why you want money, think about not just having the money, but what the money will bring into your life that you feel that you don't have in your life right now. So, because if you don't do that, then you're always going to just be focused on the money, and no amount of money is ever going to be enough, and you're never going to be at peace. And there are some people that we know who it seems like they just can't, we know just from observation, I know, who seem like they just can never get enough. I mean, I do know someone from observation, personal observation, who it seemed like he could just never get enough sex. But I mean, we were friends. We weren't kicking it like that. But I'm just saying, it was just like he would meet people random places, and the next thing I know, they had sex. He would have people ringing his doorbell at 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. and screaming and yelling. And it just seemed like he just could not get enough of it. And I don't know what void, I could never figure out, what was going on, but it seemed like it was so destructive to him. And some people with money, it's like they have gazillions of dollars. They're the 1% or whatever. They're wealthy. Their children are going to be wealthy. Their grandchildren are going to be wealthy. Their great-great-grandchildren are going to be wealthy. And they still can't get enough. And the idea that, oh my gosh, somebody's going to get 2 cents for a peanut just seems to upset their soul. It's like it's something wrong with them. There's some void. And so the book was like, what is it that you think that money will bring to you? And for me, I was was like clear. I'm like, freedom. I want to be free to travel when I want. I want to be free to live the way that I want to live. I want to be free to follow the guidance of God within me. I want to be free to, like, you know, do what I feel guided to do. I want freedom, 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 freedom. Like, so ever since then, that's just really been like a theme for me, an affirmation for me, a conversation with me. And then I guess as I became more conscious of it, you know, I think of it as like a community conversation about freedom. I thought about it, you know, and so I woke up the other day, or I've realized, not the other day literally, but I've realized over time that I am free. And I think that freedom is a funny thing, because I think that you can be in jail and be free, and you could just be out here on these streets and still be enslaved, you know? So I think freedom is a consciousness. But I also realized that I am free in the ways that I wanted to be free, and I hadn't realized that. And so it kind of brings me to the third thing, which is when freedom doesn't look the way that you thought it was going to look. I told y'all the other day that I'm reading Colson Whitehead's The Underground Railroad, and there's this one part where one of the characters is like, this is the freedom that I have, it doesn't look the way that I thought that freedom would look, you know, and is this freedom or is that freedom? I'm free, but I'm still confined in a certain way. And so that realization for me that, wow, a lot of the things that when I was affirming and asking for freedom that I wanted, freedom to travel, freedom to see the world, freedom to get up when I felt called to get up in the morning, go to bed when I felt called to go to bed at night. You know, sometimes I have appointments that constrain things, but not in a way that where I start feeling weighed down at all. Freedom to work with and be around the people that I want to work with and be around. Freedom to, you know, just if I want to write, I can write. Freedom to organize my days the way that I want to organize them. You know, and I do believe in freedom within a structure. So I'm not trying to say that I'm just rudderless out here, but you know, I just realized that I really, and I give thanks, I have a lot of the freedom that I was asking for, but it doesn't look the way that I thought it would look. But I'm thankful for it and I appreciate it. And I now that I recognize it for what it is, I'm really, 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 really grateful for every moment that I have. And then the other thing is just from, you know, as I've studied, you know, the history of, you know, our people in this country, or Black folks in this country, you know, people will, you know, oh, I escaped slavery and then I went to live. We just got finished reading Homecoming, Guy Assi. I can't even remember I could never remember the title of that book, but Guy Assi, I did a little review on it. But there's a character in that book, or a moment in that book, or, you know, and we know it, and we know from 12 Years a Slave that you can be free, your body can be free, and then you can be unfree. You know, somebody can snatch you. Back in the day, somebody could snatch you up. And then, you know, and it happens actually now. You know, there are some people who they're free, and then the next thing they know, they're imprisoned. And they're under the auspices, at least their body is, of a system, you know, that's not their own design, and is not for their benefit. It's for the benefit of someone else. So, you know, it's sort of like this freedom, this idea of, oh, I'm going to arrive at a destination and then I'm going to be free. I guess as I've studied and paid attention, I've realized like it's not exactly that. It's kind of like every day, every moment, every hour, every week, every year, we choose freedom. And we choose freedom again and again and again and again and again, you know, moment by moment, second by second. And so I guess that's kind of like the main question for me. You know, from me to you or whatever, is sort of like, are you free and are you choosing freedom? I realized at some point that, well, first I realized that I had an issue with borrowing money. And then I started to realize that society had told me that I needed to borrow money, like i.e. use credit cards, in order to, you know, I remember when I first went to college, and the first, you know, like couple days, they had tables set up by the banks, and they would give you stuff. You would apply for a card and they'd give you stuff. And I could never get a card. Everybody else was getting a card, but I couldn't get a card. And it was because I had been in this makeup of the month club when I was a child. This is my theory. I don't know why. It was probably God protecting me. But I had been in this makeup of a month club while I was a child, where you get the makeup. It was like the book of the month club. You get the makeup, and then if you didn't want it, you sent it back. But if you did want it, you paid the money. And I didn't want it, but I didn't send it back. I wasn't organized enough to send it back in time. And then they told me I owed the money, and I owed the money, and I owed the money, and I owed the money. And I was a kid. I didn't really have the money to pay him. And my mother had told me not to do it. And so it was just like this heavy burden and when I went to college and everybody was getting, credit cards except for me, I was like, I felt really, really sad about it. So anyway, eventually I was lucky enough to get cards. And at some point I realized, wait a second, this isn't luck. This isn't a blessing. This isn't a good thing. And then, later on, I went through Financial Peace University, but I had already started realizing I'm a slave to these daggone cards. And then the more I paid attention to credit and how, credit works in this country, I was kind of like, dang. And then when I did Financial Peace University, and he was like, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, the big people would buy houses on credit, some people, but most people had big down payments. Most people bought small houses and then worked up. Like, the way that we think about things is different, but it's because the banks have trained us to think we have to use credit. We have to have credit cards. We have to buy the biggest and the best house. And so it's sort of like when you look at our proportion of debt to someone else's proportion of debt, not just cars, not just houses, not just clothes and food, but also school. When you look at, like, especially we are in debt, and it's like you're enslaved to that debt. So anyway, when I started getting free of that, it was like, oh my gosh, okay, so I'm not buying into this idea. And I had already gotten free of certain ideas before that. I think that was kind of like the last major idea that I got free from, this idea that before I got free from the idea around the same time that, I have to straighten my hair, and, my hair has to look a certain way, or, that, beauty means this, or, I'm not attractive because of that, or I have to eat meat with every meal, or I have to eat meat, period. And, it was kind of like when I released myself of that idea, I felt free. And I can see, like, when I look at other people, it's like the ways in which, I actually don't feel like they're in bondage. I feel like we're in bondage, because even though I don't personally subscribe to it, it's sort of like to have a conversation. It's like it affects all of us, and it affects our society, and it affects our, ability to and I feel like freedom is a vibration. So when I see a person, like, that's the work, right? Be you, be fabulous you. When I see you and being fabulous you, it's an inspiration, it's a stimulation, it's a conversation, it's exciting. It inspires me, it informs me, and it makes me better. And we vibe off of each other. And I feel like you can vibe up or spiral upwards, and you can also vibe down or like spiral downward. So, I guess that's it. I was just rambling, kicking it about freedom, but I'm gonna put the link to the video here. But every day, every moment, we're making choices about our freedom. And are you choosing to be free? Choose freedom. I'm a little incoherent. I didn't even mean to talk this long about freedom, but I am passionate about it. We're all free. I see us all free. I see us all happy. I see us all following the guidance of God within us. I see us all, each of us has a different assignment, and I see us all engaged in our particular assignment in a way that brings us joy, which is going to be totally different from what brings the next person joy. So, freedom. I see us all free to be exactly who we are, how we were created, to enjoy life and enjoy, our gifts and talents, and enjoy our families and our communities and the whole world. So with that, that's all I got. Y'all got anything? Thanks for clicking on and joining me live. I'm doing, while you type, if you're typing, I'm about to do Love and Hip Hop Miami, and then I'm going to do notes on the news feed. Yeah, likes. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate them. I appreciate you for being here. I can see the little numbers, even though I've learned that they're wrong. But I feel like someone's here. Hello there, you, whoever you are, watching live or on replay. I appreciate you being here. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. We're working on 1,000. So if you are one of the first 1,000 charter subscribers, I thank you. I appreciate you. I value you. Spread the word, like, comment, share. When you like, comment, share, it spreads the word in the YouTube community, or I guess in your personal social media communities. But that's it. Share your thoughts about freedom. You know, if we share them on this line, it doesn't, it's not saved forever. I don't know if YouTube saves anything forever, but you know, it's just whatever goes across the screen is between us. But when you put it in the comments, other people can have it. So let's talk about free, and let's be free. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Be you.